Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Old Time Rock and Roll. I'm your host, David Tear, where I've been featuring my personal countdown of the top 3,000 songs of the rock era from 1954 to 1999. Today, I'm up to song number 2869, which is Up on Cripple Creek by a rock band called The Band. That's a kind of original name. No, they were a Canadian American band. And they were pretty popular for a while. And in case you're interested, this is a single cover. And the flip side of this was The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down. This was not a hit for them. I don't think it was released. It was just a B-side single. But it was released on, both of these songs were released on their album called The Band, which I was told is a concept album. And like I said, they were a pretty popular band for a while. And they were one of those kind of late 60s bands, just kind of going with the flow, I guess. And I think they sounded pretty good. They didn't have a lot of big hits. I think Up on Cripple Creek they only had a couple top 40 hits, I think. I think Up on Cripple Creek was their biggest hit, actually. And I kind of like it. But let me just talk a little bit more about the band. Here's a picture of them in concert. And another thing I learned is that I mean, I'll go through their history first. Maybe that's the first thing to do. So they started out. Most of the members were with this group, this '50s group called the Hawks, and they don't look anything like this. It's kind of funny because the Hawks were around from 1957 to 1964. They look like kind of a typical doo-wop band from the late '50s and early '60s, which I guess they were. But then I guess they kind of reformed. In '65, they started recording with Bob Dylan in this. This was his house, I guess, in upstate New York, which he turned into a recording studio. And this house became known as Big Pink. I guess it's a pretty famous house of his. I've never seen it. I think I actually did go to his house in Duluth. I saw his house in Duluth, Minnesota, maybe 5 years ago. I'm not, I was given the address. It didn't look special to me. That's kind of funny thing. I expected there'd be like a big plaque in front of him. There'd be a big crowd, but there wasn't. I guess Bob Dylan lived a pretty simple life, and he didn't want to show off like Elvis did with Graceland or anything. But anyway, was his recording studio, Big Pink, and I guess the band was his backup band for a couple years, 65 to 67. And then by I think 1968, the band started making it on their own. I'll just go through their hits. Like I said, most of their hits weren't really big hits. Actually, I think they only had one top 40 hit that was the one I'm featuring today, Up on Cripple Creek, along with its flip side, The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down. The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down was a very well-known song, by the way. And Joan Baez, she had a much bigger hit version of that song. Came out the following year, 1970. Um, I'm not sure which version I like better. I like Joan Baez's version too. But I'll just go through their discography. So '68, they had a song called "The Wait," which I'm not really crazy about. But it's a very well-known song. I'm not sure if it was written by Jackie DeShannon, but I learned recently that it was recently recorded by her, and I think her recording predated the band's version. I think it's kind of a depressing song. It was featured in Easy Rider. That's the main place I remember it from. It was a song they played right after the theme song "Born to Be Wild." Um, and what else? And then their next hit was "Up on Cripple Creek." That went all the way to number 25, by the way. And like I said, the flip side that was a night they drove old Dixie down. 1970, they had a song called "Rag Mama Rag," and also another one called "Time to Kill," which I believe was the flip side. And in '71, they had "Life is a Carnival" and "Don't Do It." And then in '73, they had "Ain't Got No Home." '74, they had "On a Night Like This," and "Most Likely You're Going Your Way and I'm Going Mine." And in '76, they had a song called "Ophelia." And that's all the hits they had. And like I said, I think they're a pretty good band, not a big pop band, but they did have a pretty big following. They were kind of a good, kind of simple late '60s band, early '70s. So anyway, that's my profile on up on Cripple Creek by the band. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.